All right, so in this video, we're going to follow up the investigation that we did in class, and we're going to talk about converting between logarithms and exponents. Okay, so make sure to put today's date. Might have to put it on the top left-hand side today because there's not a lot of space on the right-hand side with that title. So from our investigation, we figured out that the inverse of an exponential equation is the log. So the relationship to show the inverse between these two is given by the following example. So this will kind of be the generic example that we use to just show the relationship between logarithms and exponential form. So if you have something written in exponential form, so let's say I gave you the equation y equals b to the x. That is equivalent to log base b of y equals x. So I can rewrite this exponential form using logs, and the reason we do that is that it's easy to simplify equations or expressions when you're able to rewrite them in logarithm form or in exponential form. So let's go from exponential to log. If I give you an equation that's in exponential form and I ask you to rewrite it in log form, here's what it's going to look like. So here's my equation. 7 to the third equals 343. So essentially what I'm going to do is I'm going to take these values and rearrange them here in this equation. So I look for my base with my exponent. So I have b and x. This is my b and this is my x. And then my y value is 343. So I'm going to replace those values here. I have to use the word log. So rewriting this, I have log. B stands for base. So the base of this exponential is 7 of 343 equals my exponent. So I took the log of the base 7 of 343 is equal to the exponent. So this number is my base. This is the exponent. And this is the number that I'm taking the log of. And that's rewriting in from exponential to logarithmic form. So let's try a couple more examples. Let's say I gave you 2 to the 6th equals 64. And I ask you to write it in log form. So I start off with the same thing, log. And I write the base as a lower number. So log base 2 of 64 equals my exponent. So remember, the base is always the number that's written as the lower subscript, and the exponent is what it's being equal to when you're going from exponential to logarithmic form. Let's look at two more examples. Let's say I gave you 15 squared equals 225. So I start off with a log. Base 15 of what it equals is equal to the exponent of 2. So 15 is my base, 2 is my exponent, and the base of 15 of 225, that's the number that's going to be the larger number there. One last example. Let's say I gave you the equation just written in a different form. Let's say I said 125 equals 5 to the third. So it's still the same process. You look for your base and your exponent, so the log of base 5 of 125 is equal to your exponent of 3. And that's going from exponential to log form. We're also going to practice going from log to exponential. Okay, so let's take a look at log to exponential. So when I'm going from logarithmic form, you're going to see the problem written as a log. So it'll be log base 4 of 64 equals 3. So when I'm turning this into exponential form, whatever the log is equal to, that's my exponent. And then this little number is always my base. So if you can remember those two, you'll be able to convert pretty easily. So I take 4 to the third and make it equal to 64. And this also should turn out to be a true statement. 4 to the third is 64. So if this doesn't wind up being equal, then something's not correct. So again, remember, these are equivalent forms of the same equation. They represent the same thing. They mean the same thing. All right, so we've checked that these make sense, that this actually winds up equaling this. So that's how we know we're good. Let's try another example. Log base 9 of 1 equals 0. So remember, this number is the base, and this is the exponent. So I have 9 to the 0 equals 1. And again, you can make sure that this is a true statement. 9 to the 0 is actually 1, so we're good. Let's look at two more examples. And again, I'm just going to rewrite it in a different way, but it should still follow the same steps. So let's say 5 equals log base 3 of 243. So again, my base is always a number that's the little lowercase number. So 3 to the 5th equals 243. And the way to check that would be to type that into your calculator and make sure that 3 to the 5th is indeed 243, which it is. One last example. Seven equals log base 2 of 128. Rewrite that using exponential form. We'll have 2 to the 7th equals 128. And that's converting between logs and exponents. Remember, logs are just the inverse of exponentials. Okay, you should be ready to go with some practice problems.